If you've spent any time in this corner of the internet, you've probably heard the phrase nervous system regulation about 1,000 times. It gets thrown around so much that it started to mean nothing. So today I want to actually define it, specifically for sleep, because once you understand what it really means, a lot of the advice that you've been given will make a lot more sense. So today I want to slow down and explain what that nervous system is actually doing and what regulation means when we're talking about it. So let's get to it. So your autonomic nervous system, the part that is running in the background without you thinking about it, it has two main branches. It has the sympathetic branch, and that is your activation system. It's what gets you moving, alert, and ready to respond to something. And then you have the parasympathetic branch, and that is your down regulation system. It's what digests your food, slows your heart rate, and lets your body drop into sleep. Now, neither branch is good or bad. You need both. The sympathetic branch is why you can get out of bed, for example, during a fire, why you can meet a deadline, or why you can run for a bus. The problem isn't that this system exists. The problem is when it's the only gear your body knows how to find, especially at night, when you actually might need the other one. So when people say nervous system dysregulation, here's what that actually means in practice. It means that your body has a hard time shifting out of that sympathetic activated gear, even in situations that don't call for it. It might look like lying in a dark, quiet room at 11 p.m., and that's about as low threat as a moment gets. And yet for a lot of people, that's exactly when the racing thoughts start, when the heart rate maybe goes up a little and the mind goes into planning. So that's not a sign that something dangerous is happening. It's a sign that your body's gear shift might be stuck. It knows how to get activated, and it's lost some of its ability to find the other gear on cue. Now, this usually doesn't come out of nowhere. This is something that builds over time. Long periods of stress, whether that's work, a health scare, maybe a relationship, grief, caregiving, or honestly just the accumulated weight of how we live. They all teach your nervous system that staying alert is the safer bet. And over time, alert becomes the default setting and not the exception. And here's the part that matters for sleep specifically. Once that becomes the pattern during the day, it doesn't just switch off at bedtime because you turn the lights out. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between stressed at my desk at 2 p.m. and lying in bed at 11 p.m. Your body might be running the same programming either way, unless something has taught it otherwise. And here's where I think the wellness world gets it kind of wrong. Regulation doesn't mean staying calm all the time or eliminating stress from your life. It's not even a permanently Zen state that you're actually reaching for. That's not realistic, and it's not the goal. Regulation actually means flexibility. It means your nervous system can move between these different gears depending on what the moment actually requires. Activated when you need to be and settled when you don't. A regulated nervous system isn't one that never gets stressed. It's one that can come back down afterward reliably, including at night. Now, this distinction really matters because a lot of people hear regulate your nervous system and think that it means never getting anxious or activated again. And this can set you up for failure because life will happen. And that's not the bar. The bar is being able to come back down. So for sleep, a regulated nervous system at bedtime might look like this. Your heart rate settles down as you lie down. Your thoughts slow down rather than speed up. Your body starts to feel maybe heavier instead of more alert. That's the parasympathetic branch doing its job and letting you drop towards sleep. A dysregulated pattern at bedtime looks like the opposite. So it might look like lying down is when your thoughts get louder. Your body might feel wired, even though you're exhausted. You might even feel a strange alertness that seems to come from nowhere the second your head hits the pillow. And it might be the space in which your body your mind wants to process everything it didn't get to do during the day. And if that sounds familiar, trust me, it's not a personal failing. And this is usually just a pattern that your nervous system has learned, which also means that this is a pattern that can be unlearned. And this specifically is the piece that explains why the standard advice for sleep so often fails and falls flat. So no sleep tip changes your nervous system's default gear. No blackout curtain, consistent bedtime, magnesium. These are all things that matter, but they're operating on top of a system that's stuck in activation. And it's a bit like rearranging furniture in a room while ignoring that like the floor is cracked, right? So the actual work of regulation happens through direct engagement with the body, not just the thinking mind. So breath, movement, touch, sound, all of these speak to the nervous system in ways that thoughts alone cannot. And that's why somatic tools, meaning body-based practices, show up so much in the work that I do. Your nervous system doesn't take instructions from a to-do list. It takes cues from your actual physical state. So the next time you hear regulate your nervous system and it feels vague or overused, I want you to have an actual definition now. It means teaching your body that it's allowed to shift out of alert mode, not just occasionally, but reliably, including in the exact moment that you need it the most, which is when your head hits the pillow. In the next video, I want to tackle something that trips up a lot of people, basically everybody that I work with, and it's the difference between being tired and being sleepy, because these are not the same thing. And confusing them is one of the biggest reasons people feel so lost about their own exhaustion. And if any of this landed, especially the part about lying down and your thoughts getting louder instead of quieter, tell me in the comments. That's one of the clearest signs of a dysregulated nervous system, and I want to know how many of you experience it. So if you want somatic tools that you can start using tonight, there is a full breakdown, a self-paced course, and free resources linked below. And I will see you in the next one.